This is Pod With Me. Imagine you were born. You were born with the urge to be the opposite sex. It must be very difficult, right? Well, that's just part of it. But more courage takes to deal with society. Today's guest tells us her story. The pod starts now.
It's coming out of Kmart. A group of guys chased me as I was walking out and just started calling me faggot. All I could think of is like, oh my God, just hurry up, get your card, and just leave.
Alex, are you ready to pod?
Are you ready? Let's go.
Ready.
This is Alex J. Aguiar, and you're listening to Pod With Me. I'm here with Taina Norell. How are you, Taina?
I'm doing fabulous, thank you.
So happy to have you here on the show. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in La Havana, Cuba, May 4, 1986.
What age did you come to the United States?
Well, I came to the United States in 1998, so I was actually turning 11. My mother and my stepfather actually left Cuba in 1997, and me and my mother and my brother were apart about 8 months. My mother didn't have all the money. It was going to be like almost a total of like, I want to say about $3,000 or $4,000 for me and my brother to get everything done, all the paperwork. So my mother started going to El Ermita de la Caridad, the pastor, he would see her coming every Sunday and just, sitting down, praying, crying. And he came up to her and, asked her, what, like, I see you here every Sunday. What's bothering you? My mother, tells him that she left her kids in Cuba and she's short of money and she doesn't know what to do. Tells my mom, okay, so what is it that we have to do to get them here? And she tells him, I need $3,000. And believe it or not, the pastor gives my mom a check of $3,000 to bring me and my brother to the United States. And he tells her, the only thing that I'm going to ask you is for you to bring them to me. Believe it or not, May 6th, we was at the church. My mother took us to visit La Ermita de la Caridad. And ever since, I have been...
Wait, but what did he tell you?
He gave us the blessing. He gave his blessing and, he welcomed us. And ever since, I've been a donor to the church. I always go to the church and support the church.
Of course.
And it's about the only church I go to.
Very nice. It's a great story. And not so much the courage you were telling me earlier about doing the actual transition that you did, but it was actually the courage of dealing with society.
Being a transgender woman, a lot of people think that it's something that it's very easy to be a transgender woman, but it's not.
At what age did you know that you wanted to do this change? When did it hit you?
I started transitioning officially by the age of 16.
Can you describe what it feels like to feel like you're in the wrong body?
It's, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you almost feel like that body doesn't belong to you. It's really hard for me to describe it, but it's just something that I always wanted to, to look like a woman. And that was in my mind the whole time.
What age was it that you actually confirmed it, that you felt like this 100%?
I want to say about 10 years old or 10 or 9 years old. Okay. Like I felt like that. Like I looked at the magazines and I was just like, oh my God, that's what I want to look like. That's me.
You kept this till what age were you keeping it a secret and always it was only you were the only one that knew about this?
Well, no, it was never a secret. Once again, my mother, like I never actually had a coming out story with my mom. Like I never actually came out of the closet.
So between 10 and 16, yes, you would always wear her clothes or do something like that?
Correct. On my own time. Like, she wasn't present.
Oh, so when she would go and you were left alone.
Correct. It's not like she knew that I was doing that, but my mother knew.
That you were gay.
Correct. That I was gay.
Growing up, it's just you and your mom?
I have an older brother. So he's 3 years older than me. I'm 33. Brother always knew he was gonna have a gay brother because I mean I never wanted to play with him. He wanted to play cars and things of that nature, and I'm over here playing with the paper dolls.
Your brother, when did he find out that you didn't feel like you were in the right body?
Like about the same time. It was like in the time where I was graduating middle school and going into high school. That's where everything started changing rapidly. So everybody found out at the same time. I made sure of that.
And they took care of you. They were fine with it later. Like no, they were going through it, but at the same time, they were careful with you.
Well, no, not my brother. My brother now it's kind of like I gave him tough love because I actually had to teach my brother how to respect me and how to love me as a transgender woman. Now he is getting used to the idea of actually having a sister.
So when you wanted to take hormones, before you did that and finding your doctor, what were your...
Well, actually, no. It wasn't a doctor. I actually didn't start taking hormones the legal way, which a lot of us transgender women do. We don't take hormones the legal way when we first started.
How does that work? How do you get it, and what is that process like?
I want to say about a year after, I started going and getting into the club illegally, like most of us. I met a few transgender girls, and they introduced me to the hormone. The hormone that I started taking when I was at that age, it was Perluta. It's actually a Mexican. I don't know if it's a birth control or it's to produce estrogen or something like that. And
how did you feel when you first started taking them? Were you nervous? Were you scared?
Definitely scared. It does change your mentality. Your body starts you start seeing transformation.
What were the first things you saw?
Once again, I can only speak from my experience. I felt like my breast was burning. Like if you literally was holding a lighter on my nipples.
Wow.
Yes.
And this is, it takes a lot of courage to take pills that someone just gives you. And without even a doctor or feeling safe in that sense. You were just not thinking at that time, at that age, of all that.
Honestly, you're not thinking about any precautions at that time. You just my mentality, and that's why I wanted to share my story with other transgender girls. So if they are listening to this, and at that time, I just wanted to transition, and I wanted to look like a woman. And I guess I kind of rushed my process, and along the way I made a lot of mistakes. I was not thinking clearly of the damage that taking illegal hormone, what could have done to me. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. You can get liver disease. It can mess up with your kidneys, which right now I'm suffering from kidney stones. I've taken a break. I have not taken hormones for a year. I want to take a break from it and kind of come back to it because, like I said, those hormones, estrogen does have a lot of side effects, and if you take too much, it can damage your liver or your kidneys.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I think health is more important.
Absolutely. I feel like when you get to a certain level of how you want to look, and if you feel comfortable with your appearance, you don't necessarily have to continue, taking hormones every month. Mm-hmm. If you're comfortable with how your transition is going. But like I said, the dosage is very important. And a lot of transgender continue to get illegal hormones. And that's where the mistakes start. It does affect your mental health. You can, how can I put it? You can hallucinate. It's like I know a few girls that are not doing well because you mixing hormones with antidepressant pills, drugs. Other drugs and things of that nature. So yes, it can mess up with your mind.
Tell me a little bit about society and the struggle that you go through on a day to day.
Well, on the day to day, you're always gonna have that one person that noticed a transgender woman. You might have people look at you differently. You might have someone be rude to you. Just be ignorant.
What's an experience that you remember that you went through that?
I think I was coming out of, I think it was Kmart. Like a group of guys chased me as I was walking out and just started calling me faggot. And all I could think of is like, oh my God, just hurry up, get your cart, and just leave. I honestly thought they were gonna like jump me and stop hitting me or something. So you can see how ignorant people could be and malicious. And also, I do want to say, in our era now, in our time, gay men are not protecting trans women the way that they should.
In what sense? What sense would you say that they're not protecting?
Well, for once, they make fun of transgender people, and when transgender people were the ones who were fighting for gay, for everyone's right.
This is the first. Well, none of my friends do that, so I haven't experienced or seen that. We're on the same side.
Correct.
What's a message you have for them if they're listening right now?
Don't make fun of someone because of what they look like or of maybe how they dress, because you don't know what that person might be going through.
And so there's something going on right now that's pretty serious with the community, or has been going on for a while. Tell us about the statistics of what's going on with deaths.
Well, right now in the United States alone, we have about 14 Black African American trans woman has been murdered.
14 since what, January 2019?
Correct. Last year we had, I believe it was 26 or 28, around there. And the year is not even over. We need to find justice for all of the cases that have not been solved just yet. I say watch your surrounding. Don't put yourself in a situation you feel like you're in danger. If you're meeting someone off an app or someone that you never met before, make sure that individual knows who you are. You also want to make sure you meet someone that you never met before in a public space first before you invite them into your home. And if you are going to invite them into your home, my advice to you is never say you're alone.
Right now, tell us, you have a boyfriend. You're single. What's going on?
I don't really want to talk about my personal life, but I'm not.
Now you tell me this? No, go.
I'm not single. I am with someone, and I have been with Prince Charming since 2008.
It's a week, a day like in the life of Taina.
Well, I'm a makeup artist. I work for Chanel. I do makeup. And also, I just started a new job that I'm very excited with Mom 365. It's a company that technically hires photographers. So we work in the maternity floor. So we take baby pictures.
Oh, that's adorable.
Oh, thank you. It is adorable. It's a very good feeling job,
How did you find the job?
Online.
How difficult is it to get a job for transgender, by the way?
I don't think it's difficult because, I always kept a daytime job. However, I must say a lot of us transgender women, and the only reason why I'm saying this is because I include myself in that category, we have the fear of not being accepted in the corporate world. And when I say that, I mean, we feel like we have to look a certain way for the corporate world to accept us. And that's not true. I must say that my first call center job, I did had a little issue where they didn't want me to go into the female bathroom because of what my ID said. It says the M and didn't say the F. So
Got it.
I did had a little issue there, but it got straightened out, and I sure did went to the female bathroom.
So now congratulations are in the works because you are about to represent Florida. Tell us a little bit about how and why.
Well, I'm gonna be representing Florida as Miss Trans Florida. And that I'm going to be going to a national pageant. The pageant's name is Miss Trans USA. It's going to be held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, September 21st. It's just like Miss Universe. We have interview, we have swimsuit, we have state costume, we have evening gown. You know, you have your top 5, question and answer, and you have your winner, which hopefully is going to be Miss Trans Florida.
We are at the competition, and I'm going to ask you a question, and you have to answer just like if you were on that stage. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What do you think about the current state of the United States of America, the government, and what it's doing?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and my most distinguished panel of judges. My name is Taina Norell, Miss Trans Florida. What do I think about the current administration? I think that the current administration right now that we're under, it's spreading hate when we should be practicing more love.
If you were running the United States of America, what is the first thing you will do?
Why are you asking me this?
Because I'm preparing you for the pageant. Looking back all these years and all your knowledge and everything you've learned, what would you tell your 16-year-old self if she was in front of you?
To enjoy your childhood. I feel like at 16, you're still growing up. Focus on finishing school, and not to try to speed up the transition or the process. Just take your time.
Very nice. Thank you so much for being on the pod. Is there any advice you want to give out there to anyone that's thinking about transitioning and are scared or don't know what to do? Anything you want to tell them?
Do your research. Don't be afraid to reach out to a transgender that might be a little bit more further down the transition, because you can ask a lot of questions and get those answers that you might be looking for. And don't practice hate, practice love.
That's right. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing story, that I'm sure that anybody listening out there will be educated, and those that are going through it will learn and be a little bit more braver because of you.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so excited.
Don't fall off the pod. For more on Pod With Me, you can go to alexjaguiar.com. Thanks for listening, and don't fall off the pod.
Ready.